Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck.
I'm not surprised, motherfucker.
What's going on, guys? UFC 291 is quickly approaching us, and we have a stacked card top to bottom. For this video, I will be breaking down my predictions for the main card. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let me know in the comment section down below who you think will be taking those W's for this main card. And with that being said, let's jump straight to it, guys. We have Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Holland. Now, I really like both of these fighters, but only one of them can walk away with the W. Kevin Holland is coming off a win against Santiago Ponzinibbio, and Michael Chiesa is coming off a loss against Sean Brady. I think that Kevin Holland has the upper hand depending on how he chooses to approach this fight. If you guys remember when he went against Wonderboy, he made this MMA fight into a kickboxing fight against a kickboxing champion. I don't think that was the smartest move for Kevin Holland. Obviously, that didn't lead him to the path to victory. Do understand that Kevin Holland does try to make his fights exciting, and that's very good for him, I guess. But if he wants to move up in the division and eventually earn a title shot, I think that he's gonna have to make fight adjustments, even if he has to make the fight to some people look boring, you know. So Kevin Holland, he needs to approach this fight the right way. That's the only way I think that he's gonna win this fight. I think he's talented. I think he's got it in him, but he just I guess I don't think he makes the right decisions at times, you know, using that, you know, Stephen Thompson Wonderboy fight. So I think Kevin Holland, he's gonna have to play the right fight to take that W against Michael Chiesa. And Michael Chiesa, like I said, he's coming off a loss against, you know, Sean Brady. You know, so both of these fighters are stand-up fighters, and honestly, this one could go either way, I think. You know, I like both of these fighters, but Kevin Holland is riding that momentum. So for this fight, I'm gonna have to go with Kevin Holland. I feel like he has you know, more tricks up his sleeve, and he has submission wins. He has those let me see here, and he has knockout. He has 14 knockout wins and 6 wins by submissions. We have, let me see, Michael Chiesa, 11 wins by submission and 7 wins by decision. Kevin Holland has more ways to win, I think, in this fight. And like I said, as long as Kevin Holland chooses the right plan, the right approach against Michael Chiesa, I think he can get that W. Otherwise, Michael Chiesa can write this. Michael Chiesa can try to outpoint Kevin Holland and get that unanimous decision. But I think at the end of the day, with Kevin Holland being the one that has more ways of winning, I think Kevin Holland might get it done against Michael Chiesa this Saturday. Okay, and now moving on to the lightweight division, guys, we have Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green. And guys, I am excited for this fight. This one will be a very exciting fight. I think we have, you know, Tony Ferguson, who just goes forward. Bobby Green, you know, another one that just keeps going forward. So both of these guys are not coming from very good places in regards to their last fights. So Tony Ferguson is coming off a loss against Nate Diaz, and Bobby Green is coming off a no contest against Jared Gordon. And I think prior to Tony Ferguson's loss against Nate Diaz, he was coming off that knockout loss against Michael Chandler. And I think that Bobby Green is also coming off a knockout loss against Drew Dober. So both of these guys are not, you know, coming off from their best recent fights. But I know these guys are very exciting fighters, and again, I'm not sure who would take this fight. Who takes this fight? Because look, so when Tony Ferguson was going against Michael Chandler, he was actually doing pretty well until he got caught with that front kick. At least I thought so. I thought he was doing really, really well. I think it even looked like he had Michael Chandler looked a little more defeated than he did and before that front kick. And let's take a look at Bobby Green's last opponents. So Bobby Green is coming off that no contest against Jared Gordon, and then he's coming off a loss to Drew Dober, and the current lightweight champ is Makhachev. So Bobby Green hasn't had any easy fights lately either. I know they're both really great fighters. Like I said, both stand-up fighters. Tony Ferguson does have tricks up his sleeve. He has that unorthodox fighting. I mean, he has that Tony Ferguson, he has that unique fighting style. You know what I mean? So guys, yeah, so for this fight as well, I'm not really sure who could take it. I mean, I'm just gonna be happy to watch these two go at it. And Tony Ferguson, Tony Ferguson, he is getting older. And his fight against Nate Diaz, I didn't really see him there. I wonder if that KO loss against Michael Chandler did anything to him. I didn't see the old Tony Ferguson in that fight. But Bobby Green, I think Bobby Green is a little younger than Tony Ferguson, and even after his knockout loss against Drew Dober, Drew Dober, Bobby Green is he's still a guy that keeps pushing forward. I would want to see Tony Ferguson win this fight, but I don't know, guys. I just have a feeling I don't see it happening. I think I didn't see the same Tony Ferguson that was fighting Michael Chandler against Nate Diaz. That's all, so I wonder if that knockout against Michael Chandler had to do anything to do anything with Tony Ferguson's last performance. But yeah, for this fight, guys, I'm just gonna have to go with Bobby Green. I think Bobby Green will get it done. I don't think he'll finish Tony Ferguson. I think this fight might go the distance, and I think Bobby Green will take the decision win against Tony Ferguson. Okay, now moving to the welterweight division, guys, we have a very exciting fight. We have Stephen Thompson versus Michel Pereira. Okay, so Stephen Thompson's last fight was against the person we were talking about earlier, Kevin Holland. So he's coming off the win of Kevin Holland, and then we have Michel Pereira coming off a win against Santiago Ponzinibbio. Guys, both of these fighters are exciting. They throw a lot of kicks. They're both stand-up fighters, and this fight I think will be an exciting fight. It's gonna be high-paced, and I think this fight will go the distance. And so let me see. Here we have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson as the favorite, and as of right now, Michel Pereira is coming up as a plus 145 underdog. So we have number 7 versus number 15. I think that Stephen Thompson does take this fight. If it stays on the feet, I think he will be he'll be a lot more quicker, and he'll be able to evade anything that Michel Pereira will throw at him if this fight does stay on the feet. Stephen Thompson being that kickboxing champion, and Michel Pereira, he's gonna have to implement probably some wrestling, some grappling against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson to get the W. Like I said, if you plan to stand up with Stephen Thompson, it might not go your way. I mean, just look at what happened with Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland made that MMA fight into a kickboxing fight, and it didn't go his way. So Michel Pereira, he's gonna have to do the opposite of what Kevin Holland Kevin Holland did. You know, he's gonna not have to make this fight into a kickboxing fight. He's gonna have to implement some wrestling, grappling, and I guess try to do that to get this W against Stephen Thompson. I'm not saying that Stephen Thompson isn't good on the ground, but I feel like Stephen Thompson he has that advantage on the feet. So yeah, so for this one, I'm gonna have to go with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I think Michel Pereira will try to go in there with a stand-up game, and I just think that Stephen Thompson will be too much for Michel Pereira if he chooses to do so. And who doesn't like Wonderboy, right? Nah, but I mean, I like Michel Pereira too, but sorry, we're just gonna have to go with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson for this fight. Okay, and now moving to the co-main event of the evening, we have Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira in the light heavyweight division. This fight, guys, can go two ways. No, this fight can go three ways. Okay, this is how I can see it. It could go. This fight can get finished via knockout by either one of these, guys. Submission by Jan, or honestly, I think decision by Jan. That's what I think. Okay. So Alex Pereira, he's going from middleweight to light heavyweight. I heard that he was cutting a lot of weight to make the middleweight division. But now he's going with some bigger boys, guys. He's going with some bigger boys now, and I am excited to see him go against Jan. Let me tell you guys why I think Jan is gonna win this fight. Okay, I'm gonna just say it straight up. I think Jan is gonna win this fight. Okay, and why do I think that? Okay, if you guys remember when Jan went against Adesanya, when Adesanya moved up in weight to be, he tried to become a 2-division champion. Guys, we know that Adesanya isn't well on the ground. He's not that good on the ground. Okay, he showed it against Jan, and I mean, we saw a little bit of how, you know, I guess you can say amateurish it was when he took Alex Pereira onto the ground in their first fight, in the UFC. Okay, so I think, even though it will be a very exciting fight to see Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira on the feet, I don't think that would be the smartest thing for Jan to do. I think Jan has to go back to what he did to that fight against Israel Adesanya and implement that style and that game plan on Alex Pereira. I know Alex Pereira has been probably practicing and drilling a lot of wrestling and grappling, but I just think that Jan Blachowicz is a little more well-rounded than Alex Pereira. Okay, so I think that as long as Jan Blachowicz goes into this fight trying to implement some wrestling and grappling, I think he can get it done either via submission or decision. All he has to do is try to get Alex Pereira to the ground and maybe try to submit him. If not, just lay on him. And you know, he would win the fight that way. But if he wants to make this an exciting fight and have a stand-up game against Alex Pereira, hey, this fight can go to either one of them. They both have knockout power, and you know what? I think, okay, so earlier I said that if they decide to stay on the feet, it could go either way. You know, not thinking about it, I think Alex Pereira might have a slight advantage in the stand-up against Jan Blachowicz. I think he, since he has that kickboxing background, I think he might have a slight advantage in the stand-up game. So let me rephrase what I said earlier. So if this fight stays on the feet I think Alex Pereira might get the victory. He might. He just might. But if Jan implements the style in the game plan that he did against Israel Adesanya, which is using a lot of wrestling and grappling, I think Blachowicz will win this fight via submission or take this fight all rounds and win it by decision. So I think Jan has those two paths of victory, and Alex Pereira, he's just gonna have to go in there and try to knock out Jan Blachowicz. Okay. So like I said, with that being said, since Jan has the more ways of winning this fight, I'm gonna have to go with Jan Blachowicz to win this fight. Alex Pereira is a very exciting fighter, and I would want him to see. I would want to see more of him, but I don't know. I just don't really see him beating Jan Blachowicz. Like I said, I think Jan Blachowicz is a bit more of a well-rounded fighter, and I think he gets it done this Saturday. And now moving on to the main event of the evening, we have Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier, guys. Justin Poirier is coming off a win against Michael Chandler, and Justin Gaethje is coming off a win against Fiziev. Look, guys, I counted Justin Gaethje out in his last fight. I thought that Fiziev was gonna get the win, but Justin Gaethje, he surprised me. He came up on top and he won that fight. And Dustin Poirier, he went into that fight with Michael Chandler and came out victorious. So this is a thing that I've noticed, when Dustin Poirier goes against these guys that just get into slugfest, for example, Michael Chandler or Justin Gaethje, I feel like Dustin Poirier he stays a little more composed. Okay. I feel like these guys like Michael Chandler and Justin Gaethje, when they get into these slugfest, they just keep throwing wildly. And I think composure is going to be key to this fight. We both know that both of these guys are probably most likely going to make this fight a stand-up fight. I don't think we're going to see a lot of wrestling or grappling. I think the only times anyone is going to shoot is when they get rocked. So they might get rocked and they might shoot for a single leg, just to hold on for dear life basically and try to recover. But other than that, I don't think we're gonna see much wrestling or grappling. I know that Justin Gaethje likes getting into these slugfests, but if he really wants to beat Dustin Poirier, I think he's gonna have to stay a little more composed and not fall into that trap. Because I do think Dustin Poirier has a superior boxing. He does. I think he is more able to stay composed in those moments. And where I think Justin Gaethje kind of loses himself and just starts throwing bombs and hopes that one lands and makes it. So looking here, we see that Dustin Poirier is the favorite, -150, and Justin Gaethje, the underdog, +130. I agree with Dustin being the favorite, because for this fight I do pick Dustin Poirier in winning this fight, but because of some of the reasons that I mentioned, like I said, I think he has the superior boxing. And I think he can be more composed and more calm, cool, and collected when those moments of slugging it out happen. Okay, where Justin Gaethje, he's a wild man. He'll start throwing, and he'll just start throwing, hoping one will connect. Like I said, Dustin Poirier, I think he'll be able to use that head movement, stay composed, and pick and land shots in those moments where Justin would just be throwing. I could be wrong, but that's how I see it happening in those intense moments. And that the boxing, and then Dustin having the superior boxing skills, I think that would just play out through during the whole fight. As long as, like I said, he stays composed, he can try to pick and land shots against Justin Gaethje, put the pressure forward, and keep a high pace against Justin Gaethje. And what Justin Gaethje has to do is he's just gonna have to keep a composure as well. He's gonna have to keep a composure, and not get into those slugfests with Dustin Poirier, because like I said, I think Dustin Poirier in those moments will stay composed, will evade those haymakers that Justin will be throwing, and he'll be able to pick those shots, and I think he'll be able to connect more during those moments than Justin Gaethje will. So yeah, guys, I think Dustin Poirier wins this fight and he becomes the BMF. The winner of this fight gets the BMF title. But yeah, I mean, I would want to see Justin Gaethje win this fight, but I just don't see it happening. Like I said, Dustin's composure and boxing skills, I think, are gonna lead him to the victory against Justin Gaethje. So with that being said, guys, those are my predictions. Dustin Poirier, Jan Blachowicz, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Bobby Green, and Kevin Holland. Those are the guys that I think will be taking it this Saturday. Let me know who you guys have winning in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like the video if you enjoyed it. I'll have my reaction up as soon as I can to this banger of a card. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.